live on YouTube. Okay, I'm gonna put my iPhone.
This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happen. On April 26, 1990, on a small farm outside Osage City, Texas. As usual, Cindy Moulin was at home looking after her own children and her sister Kathy's.
It was about 4:40 in the afternoon, and my daughters were in the house with me, and Kathy board. I babysit for them, and I was expecting Kathy any time. My older son, Jacob, was outside doing chores.
Traveling the same route as Kathy that day was her cousin Linda.
I had just gotten groceries and was headed out of town to a high school girl that I meet with after school about 5 o'clock every day. And I had just left the city limits. I noticed that there was a vehicle in front of me, quite a ways in front of me, nothing out of the ordinary.
When Kathy pulled up in front of her sister's house, she was forced to wait for an opening in the oncoming traffic to turn left into the driveway.
There was a blind spot in the road there where you cannot see the car in front of you. But on the shoulder of the road, I noticed a couple of geese. My main concern was that they're going to cross in front of me and cause me to wreck. At first I thought the livestock had knocked over one of the feeders, their metal feeders.
I looked up in the sky and I saw smoke just rolling to the air all over. And I go, that's a car fire. And I started screaming, Mom.
The other person in the car was my main concern, to get back there, make sure they were okay. The front doors were jammed on my car, so I called out the back door. When I got to the car, I then noticed that it was Kathy, and this was my relation in there. And she's screaming that the doors are jammed and that she can't get out.
When we continue,
And my heart knew she was even better, and I said, God, take her before she burns.
When it comes to your fertility, everybody's got something.
pillows.
Minute dinner kits are
realized there's a car on fire outside the house. And then when I got up to look, it was almost like I didn't want to look, but I had to. And so my sister's car was in flames. When I saw Linda there, and it looked like she couldn't get to her, that things were pretty hopeless. And my heart knew she was gonna die, and I was gonna be able to watch it. And I said, God, take her before she burns.
Cindy's call for help came into the Osage City Police and Fire Department.
Osage City Fire and Police.
Get the fire department. That was my only hope. They'll come and they'll put this fire out and it'll be all right.
The volunteer fire department immediately responded. An advanced life support unit was also dispatched. But it would take several minutes for any rescue workers to get to the scene. Charlie Hebert was on his way to visit friends.
Well, I just coming up the road, and I just happened to be the first one that got up on it. I thought the thing was gonna blow up any time. I expected to get blowed right off there.
National Guard Sergeant Roger Mercer was heading home with his family.
I knew that car was going to explode, and my first thought was of my wife and my children. And I didn't like the idea of being a dead hero. As I was approaching the car, the heat was just incredible. I assumed that just instinct took over. Just raw animal instinct. As long as she was still alive, I had to do something. I couldn't just stand by and watch it happen. We got maybe 15, 20 feet away from the car, and the flames were coming out of the hole that she had just crawled through. And the rest of the car burned within just a matter of seconds after that.
I just couldn't believe that she'd gotten out of it. Got over to her and I grabbed onto her and I started to cry and I was holding her. I kept saying, I thought you were gonna die. I thought you were gonna die. I think about what I would have had to do if Kathy had not turned out. And I think about how I would have had to come back to this house and tell those little boys that Margaret died. It was very hard.
Anytime you got somebody trapped in a fire, there's a lot of concern. Your biggest concern is inhalation of the superheated smoke and fumes, because they actually drown in their own mucus inside their lungs if they're burnt too bad.
Although emergency workers arrived within 5 minutes, it would have been too late to save Catherine.
Fuel from the gas tank was leaking out of the gas tank and it was fueling the fire, and that's why if Roger and Charlie weren't on the scene practically immediately, that she would have perished.
One person didn't do it, two people didn't do it. It was 4 people working together. When you read about something like this in the paper, see it on the news, you ask yourself, would I do that? And I learned that I would.
29-year-old Kathy Watson suffered from burns and smoke inhalation and bruised her hand pounding on the windshield. But she escaped with her life. Kathy is grateful for all the people who stopped that day to help rescue.
Some really wonderful people, one in a million. And they deserve so much for risking their lives. It
It changed Kathy, and it did change me. We're just a lot more aware of how precious life is, how quickly it can be gone. So you look around and you see things that you once took for granted are much more important.
Next,
Kids are a little special. You're not just treating the patient, you're treating your future.
No, replacing it basically.
You're not just treating the patient, you're treating your future.
a trauma center built just for centers in the country, specially designed for their emergency needs. This story is not a recreation. It's the reality of life and death at Children's National Medical Center in Washington, D.C. A trauma center built just for kids.
Treating your patient, you're treating your future.
Lifeline, this is Kathy.
A call comes in from a small hospital 100 miles away. They're fighting to save the life of a 2-year-old.
Now, rescue 911. Next, rescue 911.
Currently an open fracture, open femur fracture on the right, and using an
AJ has suffered massive head and facial injuries, and his airway is blocked.
Are they gonna trach him?
Placed in the baby's airway was done under emergency conditions. The baby it doesn't breathe and we don't provide oxygen to the baby, and the baby's going to die. It's as simple as that.
That thing is gonna have to be secure because they pop out really easy, especially in a 2-year-old. So probably one of you's gotta watch that trach all the way.
Within 20 minutes, the helicopter carrying AJ arrives.
Okay, here we go. Lift. He's in the air. Good. Can we give some, has he got any volume?
The trauma team on duty.
AJ was paralyzed chemically by medicine. Came in because he was having a lot of pain. He was having difficulty tolerating the big oxygen tube they put in him.
Moving around a lot.
Neurosurgeon William Smith examines AJ.
Here we go. There. Move. His right eye was lacerated up front. The left eye was protruding and could not move.
Don't hyperventilate quite as much, okay? Not quite as much.
So it's working. All right. The only question is whether that airway can be maintained without somebody holding it like that. And I don't think we could do that.
Marty? He's got these 3 in the trachea tube. It's sewn in. It's in too far. It's very difficult to move because how tight they tied it in. So right by his carina, we pull it back and he sets it through, but it slips back down. It ends up in his left mainstem, and we get desaturation. I need a suture. I need something like a 207. Sure that airway was safe for the baby. And then we made a decision that it was safe to take the baby to the x-ray department where we could get some information about how badly the baby's head was hurt, how bad the lungs were, and then whether or not he had any injuries in his abdomen.
She has multiple facial fractures, orbital rim fractures, probably with fractures of bone into the orbital down the globe itself. He also has, we see air inside the cranial cavity, which indicates he has an open fracture between
from the outside, so he has a high risk of infection. Sounds good,
AJ's parents finally arrived after driving 2 hours to the hospital. His father had not seen her since the accident. For 10 hours, a team of surgeons work on AJ, repairing injuries to his face and eyes, as well as a fractured leg.
Okay, can we have another picture?
Hi, how are you doing?
The following day, Chief Surgical Resident Dr. Robert Attore brings AJ's parents up to date on his progress.
We're very encouraged how well he's waking up. His neurologic function is very, very encouraging, and we're hoping that his recovery continues to be as good as it has been so far. The other good news is that when the nurses took the bandages off of his eyes today, he was able to move the left eye over towards the nurse who was speaking to him, and that also is encouraging. We're not very optimistic about the right eye, as you know, as the ophthalmologist explained to you, but it is encouraging that he was able to move his eye in the direction of the nurse who was speaking to him. So he's made lots of good progress. Okay. And who I have here? You talk to your mom and dad? Huh? Go ahead.
So next time.
It's okay. It's okay.
AJ, Mama's right here. We here.
Okay.
We here. Put your leg back down, baby. Mama and Daddy right here. We right here beside you. It's okay. It's okay, baby.
The way he looked before he went to the operating room, he really looked bad. And after they brought him up and they let us see him, they did a good job. And I was really happy about what they done.
Good boy.
I love you, okay?
We love you, okay? Shake your head. Shake your head.
Okay?
Shake your head, yeah.
Yeah.
Good boy. Good boy.
AJ, you try and get a nap now, all right?
Okay?
You're right back, okay? Come on. Put your hand down.
Okay, we right here. We gonna stay right here. You want to shake your head, yeah. You want us to stay here? Okay,
The will of a child to get better, to do the things that are needed in order to fully recover is dependent upon the emotional support he receives. So the fact that his mother and father have been here with him from the very beginning, are at his bedside when he needs them, will have a significant impact on his ultimate prognosis.
Today, Anthony's doing fairly well. When we speak with him, he's able to follow complex commands, which is a good sign. That tells us that his motor centers are working, and also tells us that his higher cortical functions are well. AJ, can you stick your tongue out for me? AJ, let me see your tongue, buddy. Stick it out. Way out. Very good, AJ. Excellent. The other injury that we're involved with as far as the neurosurgeons is that he had significant cerebral spinal fluid leaking from his nose. Given time, we would expect that leak to resolve on its own. AJ, look at your toes for me. This may take 8 months, 9 months, a year before we finally know what his final prognosis will be. There you go. Excellent.
We're doing the best we can do medically for these children. And we still have kids die every day. We might feel real good about AJ, but I think all of us are realistic in the sense that this afternoon, same situation, child may not do it well.
Improved dramatically. He's regained most of the sight in his left eye, and with therapy, he's showing steady progress in recovering from his broken leg.
Come on, let's go in the playroom. Go ahead. This is definitely a miracle, baby, because the way he popped back, and I thank the doctors at Children's Hospital, because I know if it wasn't for them, he would not be here.
We were able here, by the nature of our program, by the facility that we have available at the hospital, to provide for AJ on the spot in the middle of the night 6 different teams of surgeons, general surgeons, neurosurgeons, ear, nose, and throat surgeons, plastic surgeons, orthopedic surgeons, and eye surgeons.
Pulse ox 99.
Okay, buddy, open your eyes for me. Okay, hold on. Can I get a 4x4, please? It's very crucial to have trauma centers. And as you see, obviously, in the case of AJ, that it does require a lot of money. Hospitals aren't able to maintain that cost.
Now he's driving in his little tight toy car.
Basically, I just want him to live a normal life, and I'm hoping and I'm praying that he regains vision in his other eye, and I just hope he just be able to live a normal life. And that's basically it.
Now he's playing, riding in the fire truck with 2 other little kids. Aww, he was a cute little boy.
Having a family and finances is a tough balance tonight. You're sitting here at the end of the month looking at all the bills thinking it's got to be a better way.
Introducing the NetSpend prepaid MasterCard. There's no credit check and no cost to order.
I dedicate my life to helping people achieve their potential and discover the tools to make that happen.
Grapeseed oil, rice vinegar, or aromatics. Your lime leaf, whole thing, with shallot, country Dijon mustard, an emulsifier. You're pretty smart there. Chinese white pepper, lychee juice.
Lychee juice.
It's tropical and exotic, so I like that exotic flavor in my vinaigrette. Sweet chili sauce and cilantro.
Backseat baby truck versus train. A man attempts to deliver his wife's baby. A shop owner tries to stop a birth.
This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened. In the suburbs of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Most of the members of the Bellin family were sound asleep.
I live in Louisiana, and this story took place in Lake Charles.
That's some news that you just couldn't keep to yourself.
Ron, get out.
Okay. Before heading to the hospital, Angela and her husband Ronnie planned to drop off her 6-year-old daughter at the babysitter's house.
Angie was in extreme pain. We took her and put her in the back seat to make her as comfortable as possible. We were going to go ahead and go on to the hospital. We made the half a block, and Angie started hollering and she was hurting and cramping and she was in severe pain. Come on, baby. Hey, we'll be okay. Come on, sweetheart. She's there, Ronnie, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. I'm hurting too much.
The nearest hospital was more than 15 miles away, so Ronnie rushed back home to call Angela's doctor. His 12-year-old son, Brandon, stayed by her side.
You'll be okay. I was telling Angie it's gonna be okay. And Daddy's gonna call the doctor.
Brandon, I feel bad. Go get your dad.
When she told me the head was out, I really freaked. I didn't know what was happening, what was gonna happen.
An ambulance and get her comfortable.
At 1:45 a.m., the call came in to dispatch to Juliet. The local volunteer rescue squad was immediately dispatched, along with an ambulance from 5 miles farther.
One center to step us through the calls that we received.
But Julie had never used the childbirth cards before.
The baby's head was getting ready to come out. You can see a portion of it. The same token, I'm saying, I want to go find a closet and hide in. I can't handle this. I'm squeamish, weak stomach. I passed out of the foot. I can't do this.
He was on a portable phone, and I knew I needed both of his hands free to be able to work and help get the baby out. I actually felt like I did want to jump through the phone to be there to do it for him. Mr. Bell was so excited that I had to get control of him. And if he does something wrong, it could be one for him.
We all have our private nightmares, and Ronnie Bellum is living his. Squeamish at any sight of blood, he was stuck in the backseat of the family car. On the phone with dispatcher Julie Elliott, desperately trying to help his wife Angela give birth.
Conversation between me and her was really kind of crazy because the phone kept on slipping off my shoulder and kept on falling down because it was so slimy. So she had to ask the question several times and I had to repeat it. She's saying, you've got to turn the baby's head. Baby is suffocating. And it was like, oh my God, no. I can't do this. I can't do this.
Mr. Bell was so excited and so nervous that I had to get control of him. And if he does something wrong, it could mean life or death.
I was holding Angie's hand, and I was really nervous, but I was trying to comfort her and make sure that she was okay. I really loved her a lot, and I didn't want nothing to happen to her.
that point, I nearly died. Thinking, the baby's not breathing. I don't know how much further ambulance paramedics have to get there to her. I knew that we could tell him what to do, but I wasn't sure whether he could actually do it. Words couldn't put it in just that how I felt when the baby started crying. I just thought, oh, we brought a life into the world. We really did it.
I seen that baby crying, and I felt it crying myself, but I was so happy.
After she was born, I was so relieved because Ronnie had taken care of her, Ronnie had taken care of me, and she was okay. She was breathing, she was alive, she sounded very healthy, and I was very, very excited.
It was like a load, a ton of weight was lifted off me. Peace of mind, excitement, thrills, all at the same time, completely all in one lump sum. For that spare moment, it was like God had given me the most wonderful, greatest thing. Made me feel that she was part of me. I was right there, she was right there, and together we done it. It felt like I was hugging her, and it was all a phone, it was all like pouring the phone.
I actually helped this man deliver his child. I got choked up, and he got choked up. And we were both just glad it turned out the way it did.
Brandon accompanied Angela to the hospital so Ronnie could drive himself. A few minutes after they left, Ronnie followed in the still bloody family car.
I was on my way to the hospital. I was all pumped up. I was all excited. All I could think of was getting to the hospital. I was feeding, and I knew I was. When those lights came on, I was like trying to think of just 100 different things of how I could get out of it. I just wanted to leave my child and my wife. What's your name? Ronnie Bellon. Who's this with application? Driver license. Oh, I don't have it, sir. I was all grossed out and disgusting and everything. I was something like you would see on a horror movie right here. I felt like the officer thought that I was some kind of a criminal that just killed somebody, murdered somebody. When the officer verified my story, he really couldn't believe this either. Congratulations, Mr. Bellon. Thank you very much, sir.
It's been a year since Brittany Ray Bellon was born. And someday, when her parents tell her the wild story of her delivery, they'll have the proof to back it up.
When the birth certificate came in from the hospital, it had attending physician Ronnie Ray Bellon. Ronnie, I think, was jumping up and down because he said he felt like he had actually got recognized for what he did. I'm very proud of my husband. I think he did an incredible job. He came to my rescue, he came to Brittany's rescue, and he delivered her. And I think people are going to always look up to her and say she's got a special dad.
For the rest of my life, I don't think I could ever experience the feeling of with my son, my wife, and with myself, accomplish what we did with the love that we had for each other. But you're proud of it, and you've succeeded in something really beautiful.
When I see Brittany, I think there really is a special bond because I was there when she was born. And that bond is something else.
They've been experiencing
1990.
the bait and tackle shop that Linda and Ron Shams own near their home in Onalaska, Wisconsin, had been a family-run business for more than 20 years. As usual, the Shams spent most of the 1991 Memorial Day weekend working at their store. By Monday night, all they wanted was some quiet time at home together. They've been experiencing a series of robberies at the shop, which was located just across the tracks from their house. Since they had installed an alarm system a few weeks earlier, there had only been one attempt.
We felt violated with the break-ins. We worked so hard and been here for so many years and had never experienced this kind of attack, I guess you'd call it, personally on the business. The alarm woke us both up probably 12:15. Of course, Ron was up and going the minute the alarm was off. I said, Ron, wait, let's call the police. He goes, I'm going to go down there. And maybe I can catch the guy. Well, the alarm's gone off, but they'll never catch the guy. You know, that was my feeling. I also did hear the sound of a train, and I did hear him blow his whistle as I was talking on the telephone to the police.
Victims, the conductor, Bill Varnum, called 911 to report the accident.
The guy was just empty clip in my stomach right away. I didn't know how many people were in it or anything. I figured right away we were going to have dead people.
First thing, we get a car train accident at Sciences Boat Landing.
Units with the Alaska Fire Department were immediately dispatched to the scene.
At this time, I might have been on the deck for about a minute, and the telephone rang back, and the 911 dispatch center is calling me to find out did I know anything about the emergency call that was placed at the same time mine was, the call that reported a vehicle train collision at the same location. I know in my heart, Ron, he was the only vehicle that would have been at that location at that time.
Ron was found pinned underneath the flatbed of the pickup truck.
People with you.
Onalaska police officer David Hawk was responding to the reported burglary at the bait shop when he came upon the wreckage of the pickup.
It was even hard to identify what it was because it was just a piece of metal with wheels attached. You by yourself? I was looking for not much of a person.
Someone from near the truck yelled, keep her away from here. I became some other person because I couldn't deal with it, possibly because my whole life seemed to have just stopped.
Within 2 minutes, rescue units arrived, including first responder paramedic Bruce Solberg.
I heard someone underneath the truck screaming, "Get me out of here," in a panic. And he told me his name was Ron Shams. At which point I identified myself as Bruce because I've known Ron for 20 years. What I surmised is that he must have been squeezed through that little opening in the back window, because that would be the only way he would end up where he was.
Just relax, buddy. We're gonna get you out of here. We got the ambulance coming, okay?
Paramedic Dave
On further palpation of the right side of the chest, you could feel that the ribs weren't where they're supposed to be. That indicates we've got a critical situation because his lungs are going to collapse.
Someone said it's going to be about another 20 minutes, but we need to get him out of there now.
I just stood still on the road and I couldn't cry, I couldn't express any emotions at all. I was just in a state of shock.
When we log rolled him onto his right side, the impact that he made created a 2 to 3 inch indentation into the ground. It's another indicator of the seriousness of his situation.
We didn't have a whole lot of time left before we lost both lungs totally. His right lung has now collapsed. I have nothing. At that point, I turned to Dave Blocker and said, "We've got to go now."
So I positioned myself underneath the bed of the truck and up against the tailgate. I straightened out my legs, lifted up the truck enough so that he could go out underneath the bed and through the opening that we crawled through.
We gave Ron about a 5% chance of survival due to the fact that both his lungs had collapsed and that he had gone through the trauma he had gone through. We anticipated reading his obituary within the next couple days.
I didn't see how my world as I know it now could go on without Ron. I see our life as so much together that without him, I would have to, I don't know, move, change everything because it just would seem so empty.
Ron Shaum suffered 18 broken ribs, 2 punctured lungs, cracked vertebrae, and a shattered shoulder blade. 5 months later, the painful memories of that night still linger on.
I think anger blinds people. I had one thing on my mind. I thought I could beat the train. And I didn't rationalize. I didn't think it through.
Excuse me.
Ron certainly has paid for his attempt against that train. He's got a shoulder that will forever be stiff. I don't know to this day how Ron was able to survive the train.
He's in a fishing boat. They actually are fishing. They're not just riding in the boat. They actually are.
I think to a certain extent I look at everything different eyes. You know, it could have been over so quick. And I've been given a second chance to take a second look at yourself, take a second look at everything around you.
Joining AARP.
People over?
Helping to make delicious.
Willingness to reach out to those in need of help. This series is dedicated to all the men, women, and children around the world who choose to get involved when a life is at stake. I'm William Shatner.
For more full Rescue 911 videos, hit the big red button and subscribe. Peace out, YouTube. And don't forget to like this video. I think my battery on my phone is probably low. It was at 74%. It's probably in the 20s or 30s by now.